I'm Emery Calabrese, proud to be part of the American Cancer Study events family for over 30 years. And what I'm about to do is going to be history making. We've never done an interview quite like this, and I'm pretty honored to get to do such a thing. We are going to introduce you to the family of Sue Vincent. Now, Sue Vincent was born and raised in Allentown. They lived in Lansford. And then she left me. They went to live in the Carolinas, but I did get a chance to visit several times and always love my visits. But before we get into her cancer journey, I want to talk a little bit about Sue herself as a person, because all the people that have had Sue part of their life know how fabulous she was and how lucky they were to have her in their life. But not everyone out there knows Sue. So I'm going to ask each of you to tell me a little bit about Sue, a sentence or two, maybe some personality traits, some adjectives, and I'm going to introduce each and every one of you to everyone. So first, her husband, Kevin. Kevin, tell us about the lovely Sue.
She was she was a handful sometimes. She was a great, loving person. She just she was always looking out for other people.
Absolutely.
Always a huge animal lover. Huge.
How many pets did you have, Kevin?
At
the biggest number.
Biggest number, we had 6 dogs and I think 4 cats. And we've had all the different little animals along the way, and they seem to find us. And she was big on family, big on the kids and the grandkids. Just always full of life.
Absolutely. And also with us, her daughters, Katie and Haley. Now, for the 2 girls, it has to be kind of a role reversal. You're used to her as your mom taking care of you. Tell me about her role then once she was diagnosed. What was it like for you with now you taking care of her, Katie?
Wow. Yeah, so that was a big change. My mom has always been she always treated me like I was younger than I am, and Haley too. She would make us Easter baskets and things like that. So she kind of always made it fun for us, growing up even into our adulthood. And so that's something that we're really going to miss, because it just, it's fun being in your 30s and so, getting little treats and gifts and things like that. And then, seeing her as she was just, it was rough. I mean, I don't know. I never expected for that day to come, for that whole process, kind of we weren't ready, kind of came on kind of strong at the end and much faster than we had anticipated. And so it was weird. I didn't know what to do. I didn't, the best thing I could do is just love on her. We tried to, talk and have little stories here and there, hug her, hold her hand, and just try to make the best of the last moments that we could.
Absolutely. Haley, what would you like to add to that?
I mean, yeah, like Katie said, she did like to treat us like we were, younger than we were. I mean, I was still getting Christmas pajamas and movies in my 20s. So it was always fun. And then, like she said, all of a sudden, instead of her checking up on us, it's me contacting Kevin on my break at work and just saying, any updates? Is there anything going on? Just trying to keep up with her the same way that she had always done with us. I haven't been in the house for a while now, and she would still reach out to me all the time and just question, hey, how was work? How was your day? How's everything going? Type thing. And I could still always reach out to her for any questions or concerns, or even just exciting news to tell her. I would still always try to give her those things, even through those, later times when I knew she didn't understand exactly what was going on. I still tried to keep it as normal as possible and, just talk to her like I would still any other time.
Absolutely. And I know this has been hard on all of you, me as well, being a friend of your mom. And I would like to ask the lovely Stella and the handsome Jace to tell us a little bit about their grandmother. And I'm not going to say what you call her. You're going to tell me what you called her and why you call her that. Jace, you start with that.
We call her Gaga because when I was younger, I would hate having to call her like grandma or something. So I came up with a cool little nickname, Gaga, and it stuck for about 13 years. And that's what we always called her. And she was always loving and caring. Like if I needed a hug because I was tired, she would give me a hug or snuggle and watch a show. And we'll both eat together and watch shows in her room. She was just always there to care and love. And yeah, she loved animals a lot. One of our dog Scout would always be following her around the house. She would come up to her room, lay on her bed and snuggle at night. She'd trip over her sometimes because all she does is walk right next to her. She loved her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Stella, what can you say about her?
Well, we really like to play games. In a room, on a bed, we always used to play games, and we watch game shows and watch shows with her. And sometimes we eat up here on her bed with her.
So it was okay to get crumbs in the bed as long as she was there?
Yeah. She always has that little vacuum cleaner. Vacuum stuff.
Good. That's good. It's always to have one of those little vacuums. Yes, definitely. And I could attest to her as a friend. I know every time I've spent time with her alone or with all of you together, it always involved a lot of hugs. There was always laughter and concerts, and she always incorporated some of my favorite things like purple and Halloween and well done bacon. And she even created photos of me photoshopped with Rick Springfield. So
Yep.
she liked to incorporate all the things I love. And that's what friends do. And then the one thing that she did that I always hated was she had that stinking snow globe and she would rub it in that it would be snowing here in Pennsylvania and that down in the Carolinas was beautiful sunshine. So I will always, always think of her. I don't need a thing to think of her, but every time I see a snow globe, I will definitely think of Sue Vincent. Now, Kevin, tell us about her initial diagnosis, when it was, were there symptoms, and what kind of cancer did she have?
You talking the first time or the second time?
We're going to talk the first time.
First time it was took a couple months. She was first getting some sciatic nerve pain in her leg. Thought it was just a pinched nerve at first, and then it would come across her back. And I'm going to another doctor. This went on for a couple months, and it got to the point where she was getting like sciatic nerve pain across her jaw, which was excruciatingly painful. It wasn't until she went to get an MRI because they thought she had a compressed disc, and the orthopedic doctor, I think he knew right away from the MRI results. He got her in to see an oncologist at Lehigh Valley the next day. And at that point, she was weak and she wasn't eating. So he admitted her right away. They did a bone marrow biopsy right there in the doctor's office. And that Wednesday is when she was diagnosed with leukemia, but it was actually Burkitt's leukemia, which was rare in adults, but it's a very common leukemia in kids.
Now, do you remember exactly how old she was at that time when she was diagnosed the first time?
She would have been 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was lots of celebrating. She was always a fabulous volunteer. She helped us with our American Cancer Society events. And, there was always smiles and talking about cancer in the past tense.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah, she was in remission for 15 years, did a lot with the zoo stock. She loved to go to zoo stock every year. That's probably one of the things that she missed coming down south.
Yes.
But trying to head back up there to catch up some of the zoo stocks.
That's all right. She did surprise us once in a while and visit PA. Yeah. So that was always good.
Yep.
Absolutely. We even crashed a class reunion that wasn't our class. So yeah, we always did have some fun when she was here. Yeah. Yeah. We also got almost kicked out of a concert because she was running a video and you weren't allowed to, but that's okay.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep. Some trouble she liked to cause, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now we fast forward to 2020. Tell me about 2020.
It was actually started in 2019 in July. She got sick. She had a fever. It lasted a couple of days, and was a Saturday morning, and it was going on like 4 or 5 days. So we called the doctor. They said, "You've had it long enough. It warrants going to the ER." So we went to the ER. They weren't sure. They admitted her. And then a week later, is when they did another bone marrow biopsy, because I think they knew, and that's when it was confirmed the leukemia was back.
Okay. And then again, on and off, healthy times, not feeling so good. It's just on and off since then, basically, correct?
Yeah. So she was in Pineville. They transferred her up to the main hospital when she was admitted, and they did the chemo. They got her in the main hospital, got her in with a good oncologist, got her on a treatment plan. I think she was in the hospital for 43 days, went through a round of chemo. And it was successful. And then she was home for about a month and a half. And at that point, we were getting prepared to do a stem cell transplant, which was all new. It was all a new territory for us.
And how was her spirit during all of this? What was her attitude like during all this? Did she always feel, she's going to beat this and, move on just like the first time? Yeah,
she always had good spirits. She never really looked at it like, why me? Why did it come back? It was just more, okay, we beat this the first time. We'll go kind of like second verse, same as the first. We'd go through the chemo and go through it. There's the tough times that she had when she was in the hospital. She had sepsis, which was really scary, but she got through that. But no, she was always positive. The nurses loved her. They all said, "You're my favorite patient." They loved to come in. She just always had a good. She always kept her spirits up and laughed and joked with the doctors. The doctors come in all serious, and she would just do stuff to try to get them to laugh.
Absolutely. You can't help but notice her smile and, of course, her strength. Now, Katie, what can you say about her? Even in her worst of times, I know she wanted to get to Jace's games or whatever the case may be. What really sticks out to you of how she tried to really put her physical pain aside for those grandkids?
Yeah. So when she was in the hospital, obviously nobody likes to be in the hospital for any reason, especially for this, because she really did go through a lot. I mean, the stuff that she endured during these times there from every visit, it's been extremely rough. I don't wish that on anybody. Every time that we had talked to her, she was always just like asking about the grandkids, how are the kids? What are they doing? And a lot of it was like, I'm so sad that I'm, missing baseball or their birthdays or some other type of holiday. And at one point during when she had kind of like a break between the hospital stay and going in for her stem cell transplant, she was released from the hospital and we were at Jace's baseball game and she came walking there and kind of surprised him. He was up to bat. So the timing through all of this was just so perfect. And she's yelling, come on, Jace. And he heard her and he turned to look and he just lost it. He started crying. Needless to say, he struck out. And some people that didn't know what was going on, they thought he was crying because he struck out. And they were like, no, his grandma is home from the hospital. He's happy to see her. So that was a really exciting moment. And I think the kids just gave her so much joy. And she knew that she always had to push through for them and for us. And she was always just had a great energy, about her. And never, like Kevin said too, you know, she never was like, woe is me about any of this. And never like anything negative, you know, other than obviously like, hey, this sucks, but you know, what do I need to do next? You know, what's the next step? And just keep on going to, you know, get over this and get back in remission again.
Yeah. Now, Haley, I'm sure your daughter Stella has many, many stories about her grandmother. Tell me something that she couldn't wait to get on the phone with you and tell you about her grandmother, because I'm sure there's not too many conversations you can have with Stella that don't involve your mom, Sue.
Very, very true. I mean, she was excited about everything that she did with her grandmother because she made everything fun. She could make a trip to the grocery store fun for her. She could make it just as fun as when they would go to Carowinds together, and always the best time, no matter what, to the point where I would come over and, you know, go to want to do something with her. And she was like, Gaga is my best friend. I just wanted to let you know. And I was like, okay, well, I understand. I don't blame you.
Right. You live that childhood, and
Exactly.
Stella gets to live it again.
She gets to live it twice as good.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. So back to Kevin. Tell me about, you know, the end of 2020 into 21.
End of 2020. So she had a stem cell on November 12th of 2019. So November 2020, she had her 1 year, birthday. Because usually when the stem cell, once you get the 1 year, that's you have all new cells. So she was celebrating her first birthday, and that went well. She was doing good. We actually went out to Fuji's. We went to a Japanese hibachi place to go out to eat, which I think was probably the first time that we all went out together in almost a year and a half. She was doing good. The doctors were ecstatic. They kept saying, we're looking for something wrong. Your textbook, everything is going perfect. You know, there's really nothing to report on. They were dropping her meds. She was doing good. But then around Thanksgiving time, she was doing some odd stuff that like memory loss stuff. And we were worried just because of some family history, maybe some dementia was starting to set in. So called the doctor and called her family doctor, called the oncologist, brought her in for some tests and just kind of keep an eye on it. But then as it progressed into December, closer to Christmas time, it got much, much worse to the point where they admitted her back in, I think the week before Christmas.
Yeah. Back to the kids. What will you remember most about your grandmother? Now, there's nothing wrong with talking about her the rest of your life, because she will be with you in everything you do and everywhere you go, because I can't tell you a conversation I've had with her that she didn't talk about the two of you. So Stella, what do you think you remember most other than that little vacuum? What else sticks out in your brain when you think about her? What was there, some funny time or some silly thing she did, or, you know, some special gift, or how she celebrated a birthday? Anything in particular that really sticks out to you that you will remember forever?
Well, she really likes my birthday when it's really my birthday, because she likes it because sometimes they give me cake and I usually like it.
Only usually?
Yeah.
And what did she used to call you?
B.
What are you to her? She used to sing a song to you and say, you are my
Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Jace, what would you like to say sticks out that you'll remember forever?
Her hugs, because I would give her a hug, and then sometimes she would just like start, like if I'm in a bad mood, she would just start tickling me, and it would just make me laugh a lot, and she'd just keep tickling me, and then Stella would come in and then would have a tickle fight, and they just turned to this one whole big funny thing. She would always find a way to make us laugh.
I don't think you could be in the room with Sue and be in a bad mood. I don't
Yeah.
think she allowed that. It just wasn't something you could do, because she would make sure that she changed that by the time you left the room. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's lead up to March of this year, Kevin.
So what led up to March then with basically what happened was the leukemia came back, but it didn't come back as far as in the bloodstream, which what leukemia is, because it's a blood cancer, but instead it came back in the form of tumors. What had happened in December was a brain tumor, which was affecting her right side, her motor skills, her memory. She had radiation, and that was helping. She was back to normal. They discharged her beginning of January. She was doing outpatient radiation. She was doing good. And anybody that goes through radiation knows it kind of wipes you out, and then you bounce back and you go back for the next week and it drops you and you bounce back. But the 1 week, I think it would have been in February timeframe, she just didn't bounce back. She got weak and just didn't bounce back from it. And they admitted her back into the hospital. And unfortunately, that was her final stay in the hospital. We did get her discharged through hospice, and we were able to have her home with us for 5 days.
Yes. And I remember March 29th for many reasons, and it will be with me forever, as well as I got the message from Katie. So do you have any advice? Start with Kevin, for any of the caregivers out there.
Probably just, take it one day at a time. That's kind of what we did for 2 years. There's not much else you can do. Stay positive. Be honest with the doctors. Be honest with the person that you're, being a caregiver to. Just stay positive one day at a time and just be there for them.
Great. Haley, what if your best friend was going through the same thing? What would you tell them?
So actually, it's crazy. My mom was in contact with a friend of mine who has been going through breast cancer now for just over a year. And it hit my friend so hard. She actually just decided she's stopping her chemo treatments as well. And it's just one of those things where, she's taking a lot of the stuff that my mom had talked to her about and supported her through, and, using that as like her to push herself forward right now to try to find more treatments and stuff for herself, since what's going on is not working. And that's one of those things with my mom, like she really did reach out to a lot of people and touch a lot of people. And that's the thing, she's going to be with all these people for forever. So she's gone, but she's not gone, because we all are going to sit here and reminisce on what she did for everyone for forever.
I agree. And if you didn't get to know Sue and she didn't touch your life, she's definitely going to touch your life by the end of this video, if it hasn't already. Absolutely. Absolutely. Katie, same question. What do you think that should be something that anybody out there should know who is watching someone go through this journey of cancer, the highs and the lows, the really good highs and the really low lows? What, I'm sure you have other friends or whatever the case may be. What is your best advice to them to stay strong?
It's hard. It really is hard to watch anybody go through a sickness and go through pain and go through all the things that she had to go through. I would think to myself many nights, like, I don't know how she's doing this, talking to her, or days that she wasn't able to talk, and talking to Kevin about how her day went was just like, wow, how amazingly strong she was to endure all of that. And I think a lot of people hear the word cancer, but unless you know somebody directly that has had it or gone through, hospital stays and chemo you don't really see the ugly side is ugly. And I just feel like the best thing you can do is be supportive to that person, to their family. You know, if you want to help out with making meals or cleaning their house, doing some laundry, you know, anything, every little thing that you can do, just takes that pain away for, you know, a little bit, and or lets them focus on, you know, something else, on their loved ones. But it's, you know, like I said, it's really hard to watch somebody go through this, and it's really hard to give advice because it's just so painful to watch and see your loved one go through things like this, going through all that pain. The best thing, like I said, I think that you can do is probably just let them know you're there, be supportive, check in on them.
Absolutely. Now, I know her final resting place is here in Pennsylvania, so you had to endure memorial service down there and then come back up here and do it all again. But I did have something for you while you were here, and I decided to wait until we were doing this interview to show it to you, but now I'm going to have to mail it to you. But I got this lovely angel for you, and it says, because someone we love is in heaven, there is a little bit of heaven in our home. And of course I had it done in purple just because, you know, that's what she would have done if she was getting a gift for me. So I had to do it right back. So that'll be on its way to North Carolina in just a bit. So I just wanted to give you that. So
Thank you.
It looks cute.
thank you, Stella. Just like you. She's the best. So one last question. Kevin, I'm going to put you on the spot again. We're going to put you first so that everybody else can think about their answer.
Thanks.
What do you think that Sue Vincent would want to be as her legacy? Did she talk about, you know, after I'm gone, blah, blah, blah? I don't think she ever said those words from any conversation I had with her, but I don't know if she maybe had that kind of conversation with you. Like, did she really realize, you know, what was happening? And did she, you know, make some conversation happen that maybe all of us can just be really inspired by her words?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, no, because when she was going through the chemo, she stayed positive, and then toward the end, it really took a toll on her, where she really didn't even talk much last 2 months. So, you know, we were kind of robbed of that. But I just know from her in the past, just conversations, I think her legacy that she would want would obviously be her kids, you know, kids and grandkids.
Absolutely.
She always felt that was a good measure of somebody's legacy.
Yes.
So, and which she has a great legacy, I think, with Katie and Haley and the grand and Jason, Stella.
Katie, what do you think?
I mean, definitely agree with Kevin. Family was everything to her. She loved doing things with family as much as possible, which, you know, we try to kind of keep some of that, you know, going. She loved the grandkids. They were her pride and joy. You know, she wanted to be involved as much as she possibly could, doing anything with them. And definitely the animals, like I do know before, like when she was healthy, she would, you know, kind of joke, so to speak, to say things like, you know, you make sure that you take care of my Scouty girl, you know, when I'm gone, and you take care of my babies and things like that. So definitely animals and kids, you know, were her life.
Haley, what can you say about your last conversations with your mom?
Honestly, some of my last conversations with her were things going bad for me, because I was in the hospital sick with something that I didn't know what it was for almost a year. And even through her being in a worse situation than I was in, she was still there helping me with anything that I needed, doctors wise, you know, just support, because, you know, I was just stressed. I didn't know what was going on. And she was the only person I really wanted to reach out to. And it's like, I know that you're in a worse position than me and you're going through, you know, something else. And she's like, no, what do you need? You know, what do you want to talk about? That kind of a thing. And it's, even, just stuff right now, just going on. And I every night, I'm just like, thanks for making me into the strong person that I am to be able to continue on now that you're gone, because that's exactly what she did.
Absolutely. Jace, what do you think that she would say about you and continuing your fabulous career in your games?
She would always want me to practice baseball outside, and she always said to me too, she would say, whenever I'm gone, you better take care of Stella and play with Stella, and take care of my doggies and play with them too. And she loved family and animals a lot. And every chance that she would get where she was feeling good and we have like a free day or free weekend, she would take us somewhere like Discovery Place or to a festival that was happening, and she would always love to take us there and have fun.
Yeah. And Stella, how old are you?
5.
She is 5. So imagine what this is like for a 5-year-old. Stella, tell us what it's like for you every day now. What's your life like now? What's different now?
The different thing is when the first time when we went on a trip, that was a little bit different because it's a different house and different stuff. Like not the same.
Okay,
Right.
wasn't this.
So holidays, birthdays, and everything are going to be just a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to remember all the fun she had, and you're going to keep doing all the silly things she did. I'm sure you're going to sit there and make silly gifts for people, and going to make sure you celebrate every single birthday and every single holiday, maybe a little bit extra.
Yeah, definitely. We also will go through pictures a lot, or if we see memories coming up on Facebook, I'm always showing them, because with her being only 5, she doesn't remember things, from 2 years ago or beyond. And I want to try to keep the memory for both of them alive, with how much she really loved them. And like I said, was constantly doing everything she could with them. So as much as possible, she's incorporated every day in our lives in some way, shape, or form, and brought up as to not, be forgotten.
Well, I can tell you, she definitely won't be forgotten. Kevin?
No.
I'm sorry, you cut out on that last one.
Sorry, she definitely won't be forgotten, right, Kevin?
No, she won't. No.